Now we're getting to the more dramatic stuff, and we're dealing with John Walker. And this to me is where, again, I felt for him last week, and again, I think it's due to the performance of Wyatt Russell. But this is kind of messed up. He comes out of the car, and he's getting booed. The crowd's booing him. We see in the senator just tearing him down, taking away this, taking away that. I literally was just waiting for John Walker to say, "You can't handle the truth." I thought this was a perfect moment for A Few Good Men, having Jack Nicholson in this scene. I thought maybe he was going to be the cameo, but he did not appear, or Tom Cruise himself. But no, we see him literally getting everything taken away from him. It started last week. He gets his ego taken away from him. They weren't even super soldiers. Then he has his best friend taken from him, and now he has what he's fought for, this country disowning him, discharging him, taking away they took away my man's retirement. They took away his benefits, everything literally, not that everyone goes to be a soldier for benefits, but a lot of the times they go for healthcare, they go for education. They take all that away from him, all in this moment, no rankings of retirement. They strip everything away from him, but he still says to the senator, who was the one that granted him this abilities and these powers to be Captain America, he says, "I am Captain America. No longer are you that title, John Walker." So Amanda, was a little bit of, we feel bad for John, or just like, you know what, you deserve it?
Nothing, literally. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because the sass from the senators, he's like, not anymore. You're not Captain America. I'm like, okay, if you're saying it, like, but with this, there's a parallel to what's happening with the Falcon, because he's not Captain America. That's what they wanted him to be. And now he's being stripped literally every single episode into something else, which is going to obviously be, U.S. agent. So it's the exact same situation. They did it I think in the pacing for it was pretty good throughout this 6 episodes. So yeah, they're stripping that away from him. Again, Wyatt Russell, dude, the performance just unreal. The slow buildup of anger that he has when he's talking to the senators, and then he blows. It's wicked work from him. But yeah, we're gonna see a different person entirely in episode 6.
Yeah, no, I agree. Austin, man, your take on Mr. John Walker getting everything taken away from him, man?
Elliot, you said it. It's a man who's lost everything.
Yeah.
And you see that rage. And, he's been angry throughout the series, but this is really the first time he has stood up to those who brought him in the first place. And that's the government. They're the ones that trusted in him and said, "Hey, you're the one qualified to be the new Captain America." And everyone bought into that, understandably so, because from the outside looking in, other than the semi-punchable face at the beginning, but he looks better with a beard. We all saw that and said, this guy is the new Captain America, but he has slowly, and again, he's lost a lot, and we've seen all of that being stripped away from him. But it's still, there's a point, especially when you have the record and resume that you have, you just have to at least keep your composure in these moments. And we see here that he wasn't able to do that. Anger, I get it. I understand. I'm an impatient person. But at a moment like this, you've got to look at that and say he is slowly going. And maybe we see redemption in the next episode. I love what Paul said, but I do think he's slowly going down a different path, and that obsession of being Captain America. And we see that him working on that Frisbee shield, the one that I was wearing in that picture. I do think that he may be going down a bad path. Right.
Listen, I am hot take. I love villains, and I love when villains think they're the heroes of their own story. And I am on John Walker's side. Amanda, you might hate me. I am a John Walker fan. I'm not gonna lie, because I see what this show has done with this character. I think besides Sam, I think he's the most, and Bucky as well, but I think he's the most interesting, the most layered, most complex character this show has come out. He's the star of the show in my eyes. Not to take away anything from Sam, but to me, this is someone I'm so intrigued to see what they do with this character. And he believes that he is fit to be the Captain America in this world. He does the things, he has the will, like Zemo, to do things that Steve wouldn't do, that Sam wouldn't do. He can get that job done. And I think there's someone that might hire him to get that job done, which we'll talk about in a second. But Paul, man, is it me, or are you on team John Walker a little bit, man?
Well, that photo you've just had up of him, if you look at his uniform, how decorated he is, the guy's served so many combat missions, and he even kind of alludes to it in episode 4 when he's talking about whether he should take the super soldier serum or not. When he says to Lamar, it doesn't say directly, but you get the idea that they've done a lot of bad things in some of the missions that they've been part of. And war there's war crimes committed all the time, but people get away with it because it's war and you can. Whereas Captain America is a propaganda tool. He's basically there to make the country look good. Even when Steve first got the mantle, he wasn't out fighting in the war. He was just doing stage shows. So they very much had an idea of how he was going to be. And I think from some of the missions that he got sent on as well, he wasn't really going in the thick of it. And he kind of put himself there almost, going after the flag smashers. And then he's been caught on camera doing this. And obviously, I think if he was a normal soldier, he probably would have got discharged or, something. It might have even been overlooked. But the fact that he's sort of the face of America, they've just had to cast him out. And they've had to do it at this public trial that obviously everyone was watching as well from the crowd outside. I mean, I'm guessing most soldier court cases don't get that kind of attention. Right. So it made the country look very bad. And he's just had everything stripped away from him for actions that he's probably done in the past and got away with. So, I mean, if the guy's got 3 Medal of Honors, then he's probably been in a lot of very bad combat situations where he's had to kill a lot of people. So he will just see this as... He doesn't see that he's done anything wrong, basically, is what John's whole problem is. He's very much a symbolism for super patriotism, where it's almost the negative side of being proud of your country, where it's like, we are the best, and it's like we can do whatever we want and attack whoever we want because we're right, they're wrong. And that's very much what John symbolizes, whereas Steve would kind of question a lot of his actions. So John, I don't think he's going to see that he's wrong, and he still thinks he's Captain America. He's building a shield. So I think he just sees it more as the government being wrong than anything else. Yeah. Which they are. Get rid of him. Team John Walker. All right.
It's so much great stuff you said there, Paul. And to me, talk about him serving the military. I would love to maybe, we do have Punisher out there. Him and Frank Castle. Maybe they've come across each other on some tours. Yeah. But this is what happens when you get Frank Castle, maybe the shield of Captain America. But again, I think he says it in this episode. He's the Captain America that might need to be had in this new world. Again, we're in post-blip world. There's Thanos is out there. There are people that are willing to take out humankind. So I think, again, you might not like to hear, ladies and gentlemen, but I think he is the Captain America that that might need.
Well, why did they lose Infinity War? Why did the Avengers lose in Infinity War? It's because they weren't willing to make sacrifices or tough decisions. They could have killed Vision, got rid of the stone. Everything would have been fine. They didn't make a sacrifice, whereas Thanos did. Killed Gamora. He had the will to do it, whereas they didn't, and that's why Thanos won. Maybe we need a John Walker, is all I'm saying.
Hey.
I know,
but it's Disney. It's Disney. Yeah. We can't have him. We don't want him.
I think this guy can lead a team, man. Again, I think John Walker is definitely growing on me, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, and I'm so excited to see what they do with this character. But especially, he's a very valuable asset as we kind of go to this next scene. And this was the moment, ladies and gentlemen, that's been leading up to this. It wasn't Paul Bettany Sam Wilson playing or Anthony Mackie playing another version of himself like Paul Bettany, but it is an incredible actor. I think some people were like, I spoke to some people that didn't even know who this actress was, which, obviously people might not be familiar with her, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, Julia is one of the most decorated actresses in the landscape, 11-time Emmy Award winner, Seinfeld, Veep, you name it. She's been in movies, and she was supposed to be in one movie from MCU, which we'll talk about here in a second. But she introduces herself as Val, as in the comics, Agent 14, Madam Hydra. She's talking to John about, what they did to you in public. That they have to, it's about the money, right? They have to show and tell, right? They have to make sure that you got detention for your bad behavior, and we're stripping away your titles. But there's some other people that's keeping an eye on you, and she's one of them. When you get this moment, Amanda, you see Julia, you see her reveal herself, and this opens the door for a lot of stuff, because a little bit of context for those that are watching this in the live chat and watch this on the replay. Variety reported yesterday that she was supposed to appear in Black Widow first, which we've been talking about it for months, that we always felt like Black Widow and, this show were going to tie so much to each other. that was going to be the case. And, with her being someone from Russia, being in Black Widow, the Red Room, Red Guardian, he's a super soldier for Russia. So she knows a lot about the serum. So, Amanda, we got Julia as Val in the MCU. Maybe not the biggest cameo that people were looking for, but I think this is a pretty big deal.
I was so happy with this decision because you know what? As much as she's a very, very funny comedic actress, she's a great actor, period. She's fantastic. So just the pen up from the boots, and then she took her glasses off, and I was like, it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I was like, what? And this is like, I love it. I love it so much. It was excellent casting, I think. She's going to kill it. And I'm just happy that she's in the MCU because she can play both of those, the dramatic moments and the comedic moments quite well. But in this case, like with Julia, it's the fact that it is the perfect cameo that they were teasing, if that makes sense, because she is a TV icon. She's an icon. So if you're gonna make
she's
a cameo,
the John Walker of TV. She has 3 Medal of 11. She's
I kind of hate that you use that, but it's fine. It's okay. I'll let it slide. But yeah, it was awesome. Her line delivery, oh my gosh, she's fantastic. I'm so excited that she's going to be in the MCU as Madam Hydra. And honestly, because as you said, they reported that she was supposed to be in Black Widow. This was the perfect show to introduce her. It was perfect. So we'll see what happens. She just made me so excited to see what else she has in store for us, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, tossing it to you, Austin, when you see Julia, you see that, she's Madam Hydra, and Hydra being a big thing in that name. The Hydra's still out there. We remember in Ant-Man, Hydra was the one looking for the Hank Pym serum. So they're still out there. They're small, but they're still underground. But your take... but Austin, your take on this scene, this actress, and what it can mean for the MCU.
Well, it's one of those where, they'll put out statements and say there's going to be a big cameo. And I've seen a lot of people disappointed with this. And I think this is not one that they should have hyped up to that degree, because I think we all expected a huge, completely immediately recognizable character. Exactly. Right. It's someone that, we're going to know who this is. And then you see Elaine from Seinfeld and you're like, wait a second, who's that? So when I first saw it, the name was like, all right, what's that? And I'm like, is that Madam Hydra? Saw the streak in the hair. Oh my God. All right. So there's a lot they can do with this character. Relationship with Nick Fury, double, triple, quadruple agent across the board. She's been with and betrayed pretty much everyone across the map. And now her intentions, I believe, are some of the most fascinating things from this episode, because where is she going to fall? We know most likely Black Widow, but what's going to tie in there? Does it have something to, comments perfect. Does it have something to do with Taskmaster? Is she building an anti-team? Is she going, like someone said earlier, trying to work with that serum and create more super soldiers? There's a lot of options here. But I hope they explore, and that relationship with Nick Fury, it's a very deep one in the I mean, that is rooted. We could go into a series with just those two. Because they have such an interesting relationship in the comics, and I would be down for that. I can't wait to see them explore her more, and who better to get than someone who is just so dynamic and can play for comedy, but do drama just as well. It's perfect casting as that character.
Well said, man. I couldn't agree with you more. And like you just mentioned, exploring, because I think the only time Nick Fury alluded to a family was in Winter Soldier. I think he said something about my wife. I don't remember. And again, they might divorce because they're so busy working and being spies and all that stuff. But I would love to see them having cross paths, or of course, Natasha in the Red Room, and again, Red Guardian and Serum. And it's so much they can do with this character. Tossing it to you, Paul. You are the Mr. Heavy Spoilers man. Your take on this character, what it can mean for the MCU moving forward.
Well, as I said before, she's definitely the power broker, because
Interesting.
You. Because I don't think she is, but again, Black Widow we know is set just after Civil War, and we know from Zemo that the power broker was operating during Civil War, because he said that he knew of the power broker, and he's been in jail since then. So confirming it here, Power Broker is Madame Hydra confirmed. We've got that out of the way. Going forward, I think we're going to see those blank cards popping up a lot in the MCU. That's very much, I think that's sort of going to become her motif. We might not even see her on screen sometime. The card might just arrive. Yeah. And, she's going to, I think it's good because she's setting up either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers or something of that ilk.
Yeah.
And she's going, and because of her relationship with Nick Fury, that kind of makes her almost an opposite to him. And she's
recruiting people.
Yeah, she's going around doing what he did with the Avengers.
Exactly.
So she's very much on putting a team together, which if she says that in Black Widow, I would absolutely love it if she came out with that line. Obviously, we know it was meant to come before
right.
This show, so that kind of would have started everything off. But they might kind of do it anyway. And yeah, she's basically the Nick Fury for the bad guys. And to have this entrance, she's got, even her dress was quite similar. Was she wearing a trench coat? She was wearing something similar to a trench coat, a long black one. And yeah, I think she just works really well. You're gonna pull a picture? Yeah. Oh well, it's kind of similar to a trench coat. It was a black coat, so yeah, very, very similar. So yeah, she kind of shows up, recruits the team, and I think she's going to basically start popping up in a lot of these things. Anything to do with setting up a member of either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. We might even end the series with her going to Zemo at the raft.
I was going to. I can see that the card or something, or him getting the card. I could definitely see that.
But he kept God's card in his book, didn't he? In the when he was in prison, so it would be great if he opened that book up and there was the card in the side. I've just blown my own mind coming.
There you go. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. As you mentioned, and as you and Austin mentioned, the connection to Nick Fury and her being the perfect catalyst of recruiting her own Dark Avengers, Thunderbolts. I can see her popping up in a series of coming shows, right? Whether it be we see her in the Loki series or pop up in Hawkeye and recruit, Florence Pugh or whoever the villains are in future shows. So I think this is great casting. It opens the door for more to come in the MCU, and I think again. It's not Wolverine. My theory was for the longest, I thought that it was going to be She-Hulk. I thought it would have been perfect to have her in the court scene representing John Walker or something like that. But, we obviously didn't get that. But we got something I think that might even be just as better because it creates a new character that we never seen, which is not to play with the semantics. But I remember Malcolm Spellman said that it's someone we haven't seen in the films. Now, I don't know when that quote took place. Was it prior to not knowing that Black Widow wasn't coming out when it was, but because he literally said that it was a character we haven't seen in the film before, but clearly we would have seen her in Black Widow. So that's an interesting way of the marketing.
He did say that they weren't using the character to set up any more films as well. They said that it's not setting up anything going forward.
So that gets me a little nervous. Yeah.
Maybe she dies next episode.
Right? Yeah. We'll see. Or it's a scroll, right? It's the secret agents. We'll see. But nonetheless, again, a very exciting cameo in my eyes and a great actress to play that character. So, Paul.